Some MTR passengers are caught in surprise today as they must change trains when passing Hung Hom station along the Tuen Ma Line. Security Chief Chris Tang says renewed clauses for the bus seatbelt mandate will be simpler and more convenient to passengers. And a powerful blast rips through a building in the Iranian southern port city of Bandar Abbas as tensions remain high in the region. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Cheryl Yun. Passengers traveling on the Tuen Ma Line today have to change trains at the opposite platform when passing through Hung Hom station due to track modification works, which added about 4 minutes to the usual journey time. Evelyn Bai tells us how the special arrangement works.
The line connecting Wukaisha with Tuen Mun terminated at Hung Hom station today, where passengers were required to make an interchange to continue their trips. Additional staff were deployed at the station to assist passengers, with some holding giant signage indicating the traveling directions. This woman said she did not know the special arrangement, and as she was hurrying to Austin for work, found it a little bit inconvenient because the trains were crowded. With normal train frequencies, transfers were generally seen as smooth. Each train could clear the platform of waiting passengers. This man said the arrangement had little impact on him, noting there were not many people and seats were available for the elderly. This woman said she left home 10 minutes earlier to catch the train. DI Cable News reporter got on a train from Diamond Hill Station to East Jimsajoi Station, changing trains at Hung Hom, and arrived in 19 minutes, which was about 4 minutes more than the MTR mobile app's estimate. MTR's head of line group management for the Tuen Ma Line, David Chan, said the number of Tuen Ma Line passengers was similar to a typical Sunday, and passengers clearly understood the arrangements. The railway operator said a second special service arrangement for the Tuen Ma Line will take place on March 8th to complete the remaining track works, requiring passengers to switch trains again at Hung Hom Station. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Hong Kong will rewrite its bus seatbelt rules to make them simpler and more convenient for passengers, Secretary for Security Chris Tang said, as the government moves to delete the current mandatory clause after it sparked public confusion and backlash. Quinton Yang has the details.
Tan told a radio program that officials would study whether to add clearer exemptions and better supportive measures, so that when the law returns, it feels less burdensome and more practical for everyday riders. He stressed that the goal remains to protect lives, urging people to buckle up even though the legal mandate is now being pulled and there is no immediate requirement to wear seatbelts on franchised or non-franchised buses. Tang's remarks follow the government's announcement that it would remove the legal clauses on the seatbelt rule, admitting there were deficiencies in the original drafting, which only covered certain newly registered buses and left many routes and passengers in legal limbo. The short enforcement period was marked by public pushback and obstacles. One passenger was trapped for 16 minutes after tin foil was stuffed into his seatbelt buckle, prompting firefighters' rescue. In another case, seatbelts on a bus were cut. The security chief issued a stern warning against vandalism, condemning such acts as criminal offenses and a challenge to the entire system that authorities would deal with seriously. Quinton Yang, Cable News.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan praised the buoyant stock market in January, with the average daily turnover skyrocketing 90% year-on-year, further boosting stamp duty revenue in the government's operating account. But he seeks prudent financial management amid unpredictable geopolitical shifts. Evelyn Bai reports.
Writing on his weekly blog, Chen said the stock market continued to rally last month, with average daily turnover exceeding $272 billion, jumping 90% compared to the same period last year. For the first 9 months of the fiscal year, which ended in December last year, the government recorded a surplus of $43.9 billion, mainly due to the fact that salaries and profits tax payments are mostly received in December and January. The operating account, which mainly comes from taxes received to pay for government services, is on track to return to surplus in this fiscal year, 1 year earlier than expected. However, Chen said, the capital account will still require bond issuance to fund ongoing investment in infrastructure and the northern metropolis. He expects, as usual, that government revenue will ease between January and March, while public expenditure will persist. Noting a volatile start in 2026, Chen said unpredictable geopolitical developments may affect the direction and speed of international capital flows. Beyond maintaining strong buffers in the financial system, sufficient fiscal resources must be reserved to cope with potential shocks, the finance chief added. During public consultations for the upcoming budget, Chen said people from various sectors have put forward suggestions. However, the government remains prudent in managing public resources and continues to drive faster economic development. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
A day of mysterious explosions across Iran has killed at least 7 people and injured over a dozen, prompting high-level military warnings to the United States and Israel against possible attacks, while U.S. President Donald Trump reveals that diplomatic negotiations with Tehran are actively ongoing. Quinton Yang has the story.
In the southern Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas, a powerful blast destroyed 2 floors of an 8-story residential block on Saturday, killing 2 and injuring 13. Hours later, another explosion ripped through a building in Ahvaz, a city in southwest Iran near the Iraqi border, killing 5. While officials attributed both incidents to domestic gas leaks, social media rumors swirled that the Revolutionary Guard's naval commander was assassinated, a claim state media denied as enemy psychological warfare. Amid the speculation, Iranian Army Chief Amir Hatami warned that forces are on full defensive and military readiness, stating any attack by an enemy will endanger its own security and regional stability. Although the U.S. and Israel have denied involvement, American military presence continues to build in the Persian Gulf. U.S. President Donald Trump told Fox News that a fleet larger than the one deployed to Venezuela has been sent toward Iranian waters, though he declined to share details with the Middle East allies for security reasons. However, in a notable shift, Trump also expressed hope to avoid military action and confirmed talks are underway with Iran. Tehran, while actively planning live-fire naval exercises in the Strait of Hormuz, has insisted it does not seek war. Adding to the diplomatic signals, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei visited late leader Ruhollah Khomeini's shrine on Saturday. As his advisor Ali Larijani noted, a framework for talks is gradually taking shape, suggesting both sides may be inching toward a deal to defuse the nuclear standoff. Quinton Yang, Cable News.
Following weeks of unrest and protests against immigration crackdown, U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the Department of Homeland Security not to get involved with protesters in Democratic-led cities unless they ask for federal help. Anna Chen reports.
Protesters gathered in Los Angeles on Saturday to demonstrate against Trump's immigration crackdown amid widespread outrage over the shootings of 2 U.S. citizens by federal agents in Minneapolis last month. Trump posted on social media that he has instructed the DHS not to intervene in protests occurring in cities led by Democrats unless local authorities ask for federal help or federal property is threatened. However, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol will act aggressively to protect federal buildings, Trump added, as anti-ICE protesters breached federal buildings in Oregon on Friday, and the police declared a riot in response. Meanwhile, a Minnesota federal judge has declined to order a halt to Trump's immigration enforcement crackdown in Minneapolis, in a lawsuit by state officials accusing federal agents of widespread civil rights abuses. The judge noted that the Federal Appeals Court recently stayed a much narrower injunction curtailing ICE tactics in Minnesota. If that injunction went too far, then the one at issue here, halting the entire operation, certainly would, the ruling stated. Anna Chang, Cable News.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the former Prince Andrew, should testify before the U.S. Congress about his ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein after more graphic photos of him were released. The latest batch of photos released by the U.S. Department of Justice as part of Epstein files showed Mountbatten-Windsor kneeling on all fours over an unidentified woman who was lying on the ground. The BBC reported that the decor visible in the background matches the interior of Epstein's New York City mansion. Separately, a second woman has come forward with allegations that Epstein sent her to the UK for sexual activities with Mountbatten-Windsor. According to her lawyer, the alleged encounter took place at a former prince's residence, Royal Lodge, in 2010, marking what would be the first claimed sexual incident at a royal residence. The lawyer added that after spending the night, the woman was given a tour of Buckingham Palace and tea. In his strongest comments to date, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said Mountbatten-Windsor should be prepared to testify before the US Congress to share whatever information he has. Epstein's victims have to be the first priority, Starmer stressed, emphasizing a victim-centered approach. The disgraced former prince has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing related to his friendship with Epstein. He was stripped of his royal titles in October last year amid mounting scrutiny over those links. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi sought to clarify remarks she made the previous day that risked being interpreted as an endorsement of a weaker yen. In a speech at a street rally near Tokyo yesterday, Takaichi praised the yen's recent depreciation for boosting exporters and returns from the government's foreign exchange fund, while failing to address concerns about its negative impact on consumer prices. She appeared to soften her stance on social media today, emphasizing that she only intended to argue for a need to create an economy that can withstand currency fluctuations, not to stress the advantages of a weaker yen as some media reports have implied. "I did not say that a strong yen is good or that a weak yen is bad," she posted, adding that she has refrained from making specific comments on such matters. The yen's protracted decline has become a focus of concern for the snap election to be held next Sunday. On to the weather now. Cloudy periods overnight. The minimum temperature tomorrow morning will be about 13 degrees in the urban areas and a couple of degrees lower in the New Territories, where it will be cold in some areas. Mainly fine and dry during the day with a maximum temperature of around 19 degrees. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our news tonight. I'm Cheryl Yun. Thanks for watching and good night.